Okay, to power my Astro Physics mounts, I've always used this power supply that you see on the left. It's the Pyramid model PS9KX, and I had a Mach 1 and I used it, and then I now have an 1100 and I used it. I've never had a problem. When I bought my 1600 here just recently, I noticed that they talked about this other power supply. So I called and spoke to George, and he said they highly recommend this one for the higher voltage. The motors would run better. So I'm just going to show the difference between these two. But I'm probably going to use this for the 1100 and the 1600. So we'll turn the Pyramid on over here. And it has the cigarette lighter, and then it's got the 1/4-inch binding post in the front, and it's 13 volts direct current and 5 amps continuous. So the Powerwerx, turn that one on. I don't know if you could hear the motor. It came on, or the fan, I'm sorry, the fan came on just for a few seconds. Now that fan will come on when it's required. It's thermostatically controlled, and the speed will also be controlled that way of the fan. Now one thing you're going to notice, this is a whole lot different than the Pyramid. For one, this goes from 3.4 volts, it's variable, to 16.5 volts, and that's one of the reasons why George said to get this. And it's rated at 25 amps continuous. Something else to note is it's got this two-way switch. It says adjustable, which is what it's set at now, and then it says fix. So at the fix, if I switch it to fix, it goes to 14.1. And no matter what I do with the adjustment, it stays. Now if I take it off to adjust, and it allows the adjustment. Now it does have a click stop straight up at the 14.1. So here you see it at the lowest 3.4 volts. I'll hit it to fix. Now, George told me that to always leave it in the top position there, the first click stop at the very top. He said always run your motors at that, and also said that this would work, this unit will work fine with the Mach 1 and the 1100. So do the same thing for the Mach 1, the 1100, and the 1600. Always keep it there, never go less. Now, he did say if you've got a heavy load, and we were talking about my 1600, he said if you have a heavy load or it's very cold, he said then switch it to the 16.5 all the way up. He further said I probably, with my 1600, could just leave it over here all the way and it would be fine. But this again can be used with any of the mounts that they're selling, Mach 1, 1100, or the 1600. So this is what I'll be using. I'll use this for some other stuff now, that miscellaneous things that I might want to power at the time with my telescope equipment. Alright, so we're looking at the back sides of both those units, the Pyramid and the Powerwerx. So on the Powerwerx, it's got the 1/4-inch binding posts in the back. And since it doesn't have a cigarette lighter, you have to use, obviously, the binding post. And then you see here it's got the fan, which is thermostatically regulated for speed, and it'll come on when required. And then it's got a switch over here for 115 and 230. Now when it ships, it comes with 230, and then they got a note on here, and then you just switch it to the 115. And the power cord on the Pyramid is permanent, and on the Powerwerx it plugs in. And there you just heard the fan come on momentarily when you first turn the unit on. So we're going to take a look at the power supply and see how that works with the 1600 mount and the 175 f8 refractor. Now I'm going to use my Honda EU 2000i to power it to simulate, you know, if I'm not at the house or at a remote location. I want to see how that works with the generator. Now that Honda EU 2000i has been an excellent excellent generator. I've had it now for, I believe it's almost 13 years. I just last weekend, for the heck of it, took the carb off and just made sure all the jets were good to go, and just kind of put it, you know, back together, sprayed it out, and just for a little bit of I guess maintenance. But the thing runs great. Now what I like about this power supply is with the 1600 mount, it fits right in between this the RA axis, and then I just let the cables go out the back side here and down. So what I used to do was just have a small stool on the ground, and then I would have my power supply sitting on a stool, just a small little, you know, stool that they have, and then a plastic stool, and then that way it would be off the ground. But with this, I'm going to keep it right there. It works out perfect. And here you see it from the back side of the RA axis sitting in there. So I've got the generator. It's running on eco mode, and that's all I ever need. I can turn it up to full power. It's nice and quiet. If I'm running a power tool and it needs to, it'll kick right up to full power if it has to go off of eco mode. I like this because it's not loud. It operates everything I need. And normally I have it a little further away from the telescope than this, but I'm going to make up a short extension cord, something just short for this power supply. To go from where it's hooked into the generator now, maybe 5-6 foot, just to get it further away from the telescope. I don't want to put a real long cord on the power supply, just long enough, and then that'll be it. So I'll just make a custom one. Okay, I'm going to do a go-to here, and we'll see what these numbers do. Again, I've got this up on the, I've got it on adjust at the very top, where George told me to always keep it there, at a minimum, keep it there. Okay, now let me go to maximum, and let me go back to the last location here. Harder than hell to see this keypad in the daytime, as you guys know. By the way, the weather is beautiful today, so it's not cold out or nothing. Mid-60s. Okay, we're going to do this. We're pushing both buttons. I have the button speed set to 1200, and I've got this turned to the top. Okay, now let's go all the way. Okay, now I kind of half-assed set this up at the daytime, so we're going to go from Antares, where it thinks it is, and we're going to go to the sun here. And again, I have my slew speeds always at 600, always. I never need to go faster, and I always have my button speed very, very slow. But I did have it to 1200 just to see how the motors would react with the meters on the power supply. So now I'm going to send it to the sun. Very nice.